Ruby was notably the only gem on the show that we know of who experienced the act of cross-gem fusion, which was outlawed by Homeworld, and same-gem fusion, which was celebrated by Homeworld. Except Ruby would explain to Sapphire that cross-gem fusion felt completely different to her than same-gem fusion, which naturally raises a ton of questions, right?
I never realized that fusion... that you disappear like that.
It's never like that. Whenever I've fused, it's always just been me, but bigger.
What?
Yeah, Ruby claimed that fusing with the other Rubies in her squad simply felt like it was herself but bigger. That's it, which is really interesting.
The whole thing that makes Rubies valuable to them is that they can combine.
Yeah.
I think they're not expecting a single Ruby to solve any given problem.
No.
Even a team of single Rubies. Like when they face whatever they're going to face, they're going to turn into one huge adversary that will take care of the situation.
I mean, seriously, gems of the same type like pearls, quartz soldiers, zircons, and even ruby gods weren't ever portrayed as being clones of one another. Heck, each and every ruby that we've actually gotten the chance to meet over the course of the show clearly had their own unique personalities.
I don't know if we've been super explicit about that, but there's a Homeworld fact. Rubies are always in teams.
They travel in groups.
I think we might mention it in the answer book briefly.
Yeah, I think so.
That they are always in squads and groups.
Yeah.
And they're not, the fact that they have different personalities, I mean, they're not supposed to. So that's sort of like something that's flying under the radar.
Yeah.
Homeworld-wise. Like people don't know. I don't think, they're never going to be that cute in front of the diamonds.
Right.
They wouldn't show them.
They would be on their best behavior.
Yeah, but when they're alone, they can't help but be a little,
the Ruby Squad is so fun.
I love them.
Yeah.
I love them.
This goes for the original Ruby Squad too. I'm sure that we should be able to agree that our girl Ruby was on a very different emotional wavelength when compared to the other two Rubies in her squad. So why did fusing with them, in Ruby's own words mind you, feel like she was simply becoming herself but bigger? Why would a Ruby who was as emotionally expressive as Navy not at least feel like she was becoming a brand new person after fusing with a Ruby who was as emotionally reserved as Eyeball? Or did they? Chaserwing said, Rubies only fuse for combat and then unfuse right after. If you're all trained the same way and only combine for a mission, then it's almost no different than marching in a band. You're all just working on a task together, not exploring each other's minds and bodies. When she fused with Sapphire for the first time, she saw a whole new perspective for the first time, which actually lines up pretty well with something that was once said on the Steven Universe podcast by Rebecca Sugar along with Ian Jones Quarty.
I think the thing about like when Homeworld is sending out the Rubies is that they can't really factor in the concept that the crystal gems will be the way they are when these people show up.
Right. They don't expect that they're going to have to go up against an intelligent adversary. Really.
Yeah. Or gems don't understand creativity.
Yeah.
They don't understand it at all.
Yeah.
Like the idea, they never prepped the Rubies to go play baseball with a bunch of gems. They wouldn't know how to prepare for that.
Right.
I think, they expect that, when people understand that Homeworld is after them, that everything will work the way it's supposed to work, because everyone is supposed to be how they're supposed to be and work how they're supposed to work, and they kind of don't plan for an outcome that involved anyone being creative in any way.
This still doesn't really give us the full picture though. I mean, did cross-gem fusion feel different from same-gem fusion to Ruby because she experienced it with Sapphire in a non-combat situation? Or was cross-gem fusion by its very nature able to make gems feel emotions that were for some reason just not possible to feel within same-gem fusions?
I don't know what Topaz would do if she didn't have Topaz. I've always wanted to tell me how I'm helping me through this, but there's always someone between us.
So the thing is, if you're a gem, you are a certain type of gem. That gem is a certain color. It looks a certain way. It has a certain cut. That's your name. It's who you are. If you have 5 rubies and they all combine, they become one huge ruby. They're still a ruby. If you have 2 topazes, they combine. They become a big topaz. They're still a topaz.
Yeah.
Everyone understands what a topaz is. When there's 1, that's a topaz. When there's 2, there's a topaz fusion. When Ruby and Sapphire combine, that is new. They change color. They're not red or blue. They're purple. They have 2 different types of gems, and now they've become a new person that isn't either of those gems.
Yeah.
And Homeworld is not okay with that because they don't know what that is.
Alright, so our girls Topaz and Mega Pearl are both important sim gem fusions who expose something absolutely wild when it comes to this mystery, which is the fact that these kinds of fusions were 1000% able to feel deep emotion and even have life-changing experiences.
That's the problem with you fusions. Sooner or later, you will become sentimental.
Thanks a lot, you idiot.
Aquamarine would just flat out confirm the idea that fusion was fusion during the ending of a season 5 premiere titled Stuck Together, except one of the fusions that I just mentioned wasn't really a legitimate example of a same gem fusion at all.
When 2 gems of 2 different colors and 2 different types combine, Homeworld doesn't know what that is, and they are not comfortable with that. They want to know who everyone is by looking at them, and what their gem type is, what their job is. There are no gray areas like that for Homeworld. Rhodonite, fluorite, I mean, those are gems that...
Oh, well, we're getting into the off colors.
Off colors. And that is why they're called off colors, because they're not... Fusions are pretty much automatically off colors if they're fusions of 2 different kinds of gems, because they're not the color that those 2 gems were when they started.
Yeah.
That's the thing about them. You could have a gem that's a defect and they're off... They came out off color because their coloration was slightly wrong or because their type is slightly wrong. But if you're a fusion of 2 different types of gems, you're immediately going to be off color because your color changed.
Yeah.
It's just like totally... That's why it's so taboo. So fusion is not taboo as long as you become the same person.
Yeah, Mega Pearl being the fusion of Pearl and Pink Pearl was canonically a cross-gem fusion the entire time instead of a same-gem fusion, because Rebecca Sugar would thankfully clarify that as long as a gem's gemstone changes in color during the process of fusion, then that fusion would be a cross-gem fusion. It was about the color of the gemstones rather than only the classification change of the gem.
The next question is from Pixie Dust and Fairy Powers. They ask, since cross-gem fusion is illegal on Homeworld, but same gem fusion is fine, would it be legal for differently colored gems of the same kind, like yellow and blue diamond or yellow and blue pearl, to fuse with each other? Would that be, allowed?
No. I think you'd have to be within a range. They would have to think that you're the same person when you're together, because everything is sort of flattened out across the groups. I think the idea that fusion makes you into a new individual is what alarms Homeworld gems.
Right.
So for them, the only thing that would make sense is you becoming a bigger version of yourself, because they really don't appreciate the individuality of a ruby and another ruby. 2 of them together make a ruby. To them, that's all the same thing. There's only one way a type of gem can be. So if there's anything differentiating 2 people, 2 gems, you wouldn't want to get the sense that together they form someone different, because everything is about putting you in a category that's easy for them to understand.
At Kelly Bachelor 6857 said, each gem of the same type and in the same group, such as the rubies, all have the same mission and the same objective. Just like with every other coherent fusion, the people in it have to think the same things and feel the same things, or they will start to fall apart. For instance, after Amethyst reformed, when Stevoni fought Jasper alone, Connie and Steven fought "You're back and you're okay," which is why they unfused when they saw her. Garnet was a mesh of different colors and questions and thoughts when she first came into being, and when she became more coherent, she stopped asking questions altogether. So with the rubies again, since there isn't anything new being added, no new thoughts or feelings or orders, they just kind of felt like they got bigger, which is a really well laid out summary of most of what was explained by Rebecca Sugar along with Ian Jones Squatty over the course of this video. Anyway, I think you'll have a good time if you watch this video next, because it's where we investigate Pink Pearl's absolutely gnarly psychological scar that many fans believe was actually healed on screen. I mean, I honestly agree with those fans after reviewing all of the evidence, but I definitely still understand why it's one of the most heavily debated topics to come out of the show. Either way, I really hope to see you there.